Welcome back to the Four Bells. Here we are in lockdown number 4. What are you going to do when you're in a lockdown? Well, the answer is quite simple, guys. You have to start a brand new cycle. You have to have a focus. You have to keep moving forwards because what's the opposite version of that? Napping, relaxing? We can't have that. We're going to try and keep seeing some progress even during these trying times in old frosty Canada. So our new cycle is going to be quite straightforward. It is going to be what we affectionately call the LEGZ with a Z cycle, where we're going to be focusing on 2 things. Number 1 is muscular endurance for the legs, which is going to be based around our testing today. And in our strength work, looking at unilateral strength, making sure we have good balance between one leg and the other. So to get us started today, before we get into test, before we get into the strength work, we're going to keep it nice and simple in our warm-up. We are going to start off with a goblet squat, which we'll be doing for 10 reps today. You can use a kettlebell, dumbbell, or any object you have at home. From there, it's going to be a close stance squat. So it doesn't have to be close first of all, but we're going to try and work those feet closer and closer from there for 10 reps. And then from there, practicing a bit of a ninja move, which we see as a precursor to our strength piece today. We're going to do some deck squats for 5 reps. So we're going to do these 3 things 3 times in the warm-up today. So when it comes to our warm-up today, we are going to start with a goblet squat. So that means holding an object against the chest. Could be a dumbbell, like you'll see the majestic Coach Ben holding here. Could be a kettlebell, could be a bottle of wine, could be a cat. Either way, trying to make sure we get a nice deep range of motion, trying to make sure we break parallel with the hips, keeping that torso as upright as possible. From there, we move on to the close stance squat. And it doesn't have to be super close at first. We can start with hip width. You can use a weight to help you counterbalance if you want to. So as you squat, you press the weight away. And then from there, as we stand up, we pull that weight in. If that's easy for you, we can just move the feet a little bit closer, with the goal being across our sets and reps today is trying to get the feet as close as possible. Can we get those feet touching at some point? As we know that if we can do that close stance squat on 2 feet, that gives us more chance of being able to do it on 1 foot when we're getting into our pistols later today. From there, we go over to our mat, and this is our ninja move for the day. You can use the plate we use for close stance squats, or you can just go freestyle with the body. We're gonna squat all the way down, tuck the chin, we roll backwards, popping up, ninja moves. That's what we're looking for today. Squat down, nice controlled roll, nice momentum on the way up, and a beautiful squat. Thanks, Coach Ben. To start off our cycle, we need a nice metric, something that we can measure from the beginning of this cycle to the end. So the metric we're going to be using for the next 6 weeks, or at least building on the next 6 weeks, is going to be how many air squats, and more importantly, beautiful air squats, or bodyweight squats, whatever you like to do, how many can we perform in 2 minutes? We're trying to see if we can improve our muscular endurance across this 6 weeks. So let's get into a few of the finer points about what makes a good bodyweight or air squat, how to make sure each rep looks beautiful, how to make sure we have mental toughness, and more importantly, that we are not a sneaky cheater pumpkin eater. So when it comes to our test for air squats today, obviously we've got a 2-minute window where we're trying to get as much work done as possible, which means we're trying to move with purpose. But what we're not trying to do is move with purpose and do horrible, sloppy reps. So probably the first thing we see at first is like a half rep that you can see here from Coach Ben. We're not sending the hips all the way down. We're not breaking parallel with the thigh. Second thing we can see is a sloppy drop down. No control through the eccentric. We're just dropping down to the floor like a rag doll. And then it's also the full rest at the bottom, which means if you want to have something below you to make sure you're hitting depth, is not taking a little rest or a break. And that's it. And I think, oh, yep, the last one we spoke about was the old chest to thighs technique. You can convince yourself that you're going low by just getting your chest all the way down. So going back to what a sexy, beautiful rep looks like, all we're trying to do is, and you can see here, Ben's using this little medicine ball. And the idea behind this is it helps him know that he is hitting a consistent depth throughout the test. 2 minutes of max reps air squats make them not only fast, not only purposeful, but also beautiful. The strength piece today is quite straightforward. We are looking at some unilateral work in what I consider to be one of the greatest exercises that demonstrates mobility. We are going to look at some pistol squatting today, which is very important for our general mobility in the legs, as well as dealing with that unilateral imbalance, having one leg stronger than the other, as well as combining that with a bit of a posterior chain effort in the form of hip thrust today. So we're trying to get the front of the legs and the back of the legs at the same time. In our strength piece today, we are going to do 90 seconds per set. So that means I've got 90 seconds to do our pistol squats, where we're going to do somewhere between 3 to 5 reps per leg. From there, once that's done, that should take me no more than a minute to get that work done. I've got 30 seconds to rest before I come into my next 90-second window, where I'm going to do 20 hip thrusts. More of a muscular endurance piece for the glutes when we're looking at those. So we're going to go back and forth between pistols and hip thrusts just for 4 sets today. So we've got to find a nice challenging way to get both of those exercises done. So when it comes to the pistol squat today, there is a ton of different variations of what you could do when you're at home. I would say the two we see most consistently is one, practicing the pistols by sitting back onto a box or bench, and the second being using a door or a post or a wall or something to hold on to. So if we look at Coach Ben here, all he's trying to focus on is regular squatting mechanics, which means sending the bum back, allowing that shin to track forward. He's trying to keep his chest up as high as possible. So of course, if you're finding this height pretty easy, in time we want to move on to finding a lower surface. That could be finding a lower step. From there, if we've got a door frame, or a door, we can hold onto the door handle. If we got a wall, a post, anything we can do, we're just going to use the hands to assist us. That means feeding the hands down like a little monkey climbing a pole, trying to get as low as possible while still keeping a nice torso position. You're going to find for some people, it means the hands will help you a lot. For some people, the hands are going to help you just a little bit. But either way, we're trying to get the hips as low as we can, maximal contact between hamstring and calf. So when we're looking at the hip thrust, we are looking to find a stable surface that we can rest our upper back against. So ideally, whether it's the edge of the couch, a stair, hopefully with a cushion, or some kind of block or box or something, is making sure that we set it up just below the shoulder blades. From there, we want a 90-degree angle with the knees and the torso relative to the ground when we set our feet up. And then from there, all we're thinking about is keeping a nice hip drive, squeezing the glutes at the top, and if we wanted to, looking forward to the wall ahead. That's it. Simple hip thrust, drive the hips up, squeeze your bum. Simple stuff. Today's conditioning piece is sponsored by the number 12, a 12-minute AMRAP today, but we have 4 exercises in each round. We're going to go through them in this order as many times as possible in 12 minutes. Our first exercise is a dumbbell power clean. We're going to be doing 12 of those today. Of course, we'll show you how those look in just a second. From there, it's going to be 12 dumbbell walking lunges, 6 per leg. From there, it's going to be 12 thrusters, so a squat to overhead, and then last but not least, 12 squat thrusts, the only exercise where we don't use a dumbbell today. So, with all of these, the intention is to find a weight where I can try and move continuously throughout the 12 minutes. So let's spend a little bit of time looking at these 4 exercises.
So with our power clean, what we're looking for today is those hinging mechanics. So we're going to send the hip back, big hip drive, and use that hip drive to get the dumbbells up to the shoulder. What we're trying not to do is just keeping the hips open and doing a sloppy bicep curl. You can do a sloppy bicep curl if you want to, but that is not a power clean. Power clean means close the hips, open the hips. From there, we're going to get into walking lunges, when we're going to try and keep those feet on train tracks. Keeping the chest up, we take a nice big step out, going from one leg to the next. And of course, if you don't have a ton of room to do walking lunges at home, you can just stay in a very small space, do a couple of steps forward, couple of steps back, or you can do all 12 just in place. From there, with the thruster, we have the dumbbells resting on the shoulder. We're going to come into a nice deep squat. Use that leg drive to send the dumbbells overhead off the shoulders. And then from there, we put the dumbbells down. Squat thrust, sometimes known as a burpee without the push-up. We put the hands on the floor, shoot the legs out, legs in, stand up. Hands down, legs out, legs in, stand up. Simple stuff. 12 reps of everything for 12 minutes of fun. Have fun. Let us know how you get on. Yay.